Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. And what a beautiful day. It is I'm telling you, I don't know when fall is, but this is a beautiful day, such a beautiful breeze. And so anyway, I hope you're getting out in nature like Starlight is. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you can find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you could share my videos with your family, your friends. A rabbit, silly old rabbit, and a black cat. Starlight saw a black cat today. It's like, what's that black cat doing? So yes, I saw black kitty cats. Starlight loves kitty cats. They are awesome. Wonder about those kitty cats. What is up with those cats? So besides cats, you could check out my playlist, and you could find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of you who have been here loving and supporting Starlight. Given either you watch my videos, or you have subscribed to my YouTube channel, or left me a message down below, or even share my videos. Thank you so much for being here. And I met some people today, and so it was great meeting some of you today that I met. So and welcome to my YouTube channel. And today, oh boy, here we go. What is Starlight gonna? You pushed the button, didn't you? Yes, you did. You pushed the button, so you know what Starlight's gonna talk about is your smart TV spying. Is it spying on you? Is it spying on you? I don't know. Let's find out. Not a lot of people would think that their smart TV could spy on them. Holy shit, Starlight, you're kind of scaring me, and I'm not here to scare you. And I know, believe me, it is kind of creepy out there. The things, with technology, it's like they set us up for the fall is what they did. And I'm only going to talk about, who knows what I'm going to talk about, because it's kind of hard not to talk about other topics on this subject here, is because it really, they put those things out there, and they set us up for the fall is what they did. It all, was already a part of the plan in the beginning, is to, have these things out there to spy on you. There's so many devices that you can have in your house and not even be aware it's spying on you. So, and I'm not here to scare you. This is about bringing awareness. Wouldn't you rather know, instead of being in the dark, being a mushroom, having people feed you a lot of shit, keeping you in the dark? Or would you rather have the light on and see what is going on out there? Okay, so here we are. Here's Starlight and everyone here watching. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you all a question, because Starlight, does Starlight have a smart TV? Absolutely not. I actually gave mine away because I moved out of my apartment. I wasn't gonna bring it with me, so I did have a smart TV. Wasn't very smart, was it? So all these smart devices out there, and smartphones, and smartwatch. So you really need to really listen up on this video here and really pay attention. Is everything so private these days? Private, is, do you think that everything's safe with your smart TV? Do you, and my question is, all right, ready? Question time. How many of all you have a smart TV at home? And how many? Ooh, how many do you have? Do you have one in your living room? In the bedroom? How big is it? How big is that smart TV? Do you have one in the basement? Because I know people, they have one, in their basement. I don't believe they have one in their bedroom, which that's wise. uh, in their living room, maybe in the kids' bedrooms. Where else would you have a smart TV? Ooh, I'll tell you what. I am blown away, and I found this out in 2016. And it wasn't just starlight. My daughter was a witness to it, you know, so it wasn't, I really, it freaked me out. It really did. It just, it was much for the mind. You know, there's things that happen to us out in this world. You might have gone through some things in your own life when the truth hits you. You're like, it could shake you up for a while where you're like, did I just see this? You know, like, how is this possible? You know, like when you find out that your smart TV is spying on you. Those are big screens. How big is your screen at home? Especially the basement, you know, or what kind of size apartment do you have, or the living room space? Do you have a large space and you got like a lot of people, they get like a smart TV depending on the space of their room, you know, so, and they try to figure out, okay, what size and how much money do I want to spend on this smart TV, you know? So you don't want one too big, you know, it'd be in your face, and you know, too small depending on the room. So I used to have just a, you know, it was perfect size for me and the space that I was in, the one that I had. And my daughter had a bigger one in her living room space where she lived a long time ago, you know, because this was in 2016. And what happened is I was in the hospital, and when I got out, my daughter and her husband invited me to stay at their house so I can get back on my feet, because shit happened. I went through shock. I went through a lot of stuff in that hospital, things that should not have been going on, you know, so I was in quite shock. And so my family was so sweet and said, hey, why don't you, you know, come and stay with us, and so you can relax and take it easy for now. And I'm like, okay. So I went, you know, had all my, you know, clothes with me, and went to my daughter and my son-in-law's house to spend time with them so I can get back to, you know, normal. No, never normal, but to kind of relax a little bit and be around family. If I needed something, they were there to help me out, you know, because I went through a lot in that hospital where I was. So as I was at my daughter's house, you know, and everybody was gone. My grandson was gone at school. My son-in-law was gone at work, and it was just my daughter and I. And because anytime I stay with anybody, Starlight doesn't just sit on her ass and make a mess. No, she's out there looking for stuff to clean up, and that's what I was doing. I was being thankful for my family letting me stay there, and they were feeding me. I was so comfortable there with my family, having the time of, you know, really just enjoying that time with them. Hang on. And so anyway, my daughter and I'm like, hey, I could help clean up around the house, because they had a lot going on. So, and that is what I was doing, is sweeping up the living room floor, and Starlight was being herself, and there was some music on my daughter's smart TV, which is a big size TV. And because I went through so much at the hospital, you know, mind-blowing stuff that happened there, is I was saying a lot of verses out loud. I was just, something inside of me was going on. I was going through a spiritual awakening at the time, but I wasn't really fully aware that what was going on, why I was going through some changes at that moment, because of what was going on at the hospital and what was going on before the hospital. So I was listening to kids pop music on my daughter's TV, because my family was so good, they didn't let their son listen to bad music. They had clean kids pop music on their smart device. Let's see, nope, that's not going to work. So I was like having fun, dancing, saying verses out loud, like I felt the power of God in my life right at that moment, all these verses that I was quoting. And I was dancing, cleaning at the same time, because Starlight was a cleaner. I could dance with a broom or a mop or a vacuum cleaner, you name it. I can dance. So Starlight was having fun, and my daughter was in the other room doing whatever she was doing, cleaning up and doing her thing. Sorry about this. It's just and before I knew it, the music stopped. But I didn't push the remote control button. I was like, huh? What the heck happened to the music? So I might have to change here. Hang on. Starlight's gonna turn around here. I might have to, ooh, there, that's better. You're just not gonna see my eyes right now. So anyway, the music stopped on the flat screen TV, the smart TV. And before I knew it, I turned around, because I wasn't seeing the kids dancing, because it stopped. And I turned around to look at the smart TV to find out, why did it stop? I was dancing and it just stopped. And when I turned around, I was like, what? What the heck? I was like, just like I'm looking at you right now, like, what the heck? There's people in my daughter's, what the fuck? There's people in my daughter's smart TV. What the heck? There's people sitting on a couch in a living room space. It looked like people from another country, like I don't know who they were. And there was a girl and a guy, and they were sitting on a couch in a living room. And I was like, it was not a TV show. It was really people that, I don't know how this is possible. I don't know how I was able to see them in my daughter's TV. Now, my daughter never said anything about any of this stuff. So I was just getting out of the hospital, and then bam, seeing this, I was like, whew, freaking blown away. My mind was blown by seeing this lady and this guy, sitting on their couch looking at me. And I've been quoting verses, and I like our Heavenly Father, our Father who art in heaven. I was quoting that verse all, because I was doing that in the hospital. That was the verse that I was quoting that morning, saying it loud with power, like the power of God, saying that verse. And I yelled out to my daughter, and I yelled out her name because I'm thinking I wanted her to see what is up here. And so my daughter stopped what she was doing, and she didn't know what was wrong with her mom because I just came out of the hospital. So bam, there's my daughter, and I'm like, and I couldn't believe my eyes. So I was seeing this guy that was in her TV. He literally stood up and went right to the screen like Starlight's gonna do, and I'm not gonna do this, and he went like this to me. Right like that, but it wasn't my finger here. It was a different finger, This is a different finger. It wasn't that other, the middle finger. Yeah, I was like, oh, what the blank? And before I knew it, there was somebody else in my daughter's TV. I was like, what the blank? What the heck? And this time it was a man standing way in the corner into the space, and his back was facing us. My daughter and I are just looking. So he had his back facing us. Somehow or another, something happened where somebody must have pushed a button somehow, and where we were able to see what was going on inside my daughter's smart TV. I was blown away. That man, now there was a whole a stand, and he had a big radio system with speakers and stuff. And he was playing a song. I don't know what the song was because I never heard it, and I was just so blown away. So I don't know if there was some kind of lyrics that he was just kind of playing some song to give me a message or not. But it's like, what? And the more I looked at the space in my daughter's TV, I was like, my, this looks like my daughter's living room, where we were. It was kind of weird. I never said anything to my daughter until like later on. A lot of stuff happened after, so we had to catch up later on about this topic, because Starlight ended up going back into the hospital after this went on, is I was like, what the heck? And then something else was, another thing was popping up on my daughter's smart TV, and at that point I was like, blah, blah, blah. I was shooken up so bad. I was like, holy blank. I'm like, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? How am I like, this is crazy. This is so mind blowing. This is my daughter's house. This is where my grandson lives. This is where my son-in-law. And like, what have they been watching in my daughter's house? And I believe they had a TV in their room, or a computer at least. So I'll tell you what, it can happen. And I'm not saying it's happening to your TV, but it was happening to my daughter's. And later on, I found out that's why I ended up getting out of my apartment, because somebody hacked into all my devices and my smart TV that I had in my apartment. And there was many people that were into my smart TV. Somebody hacked into stuff where I was living before I ended up living in my car. So there was so yes, and I don't want to scare you, but I want you to be aware is that you could have, if you got your smart TV in your bedroom and you are married, or, you don't even have to be married, is that, people walk around naked in their bedrooms, or even in their whole house, like Starlight would. If I lived in my apartment, you bet your ass I'm walking around, running around. Whoop, I forgot something. I gotta go and get something. And, so yeah, it was a normal thing that it's okay that you walk around. It's your house, right? But is there anybody, do you know that anybody's spying on you? And I even actually talked to somebody that was into computers. And it blew their mind when I told them. They didn't think it was possible for somebody to spy on somebody in their smart TV. But guess what? I'm a witness, and my daughter, if my daughter was here, my daughter would let you know, yes, people can spy on you through your smart TV. They got a lot of other devices, but I really just wanted to focus on the smart TV. Are you being spied on? What kind of, think about, what are you doing in front of a smart TV? Is that being watched? You want to, what? The only thing I can tell you right now is you might want to Google this, and find out, like on YouTube, how to find out if somebody's spying on you through your smart TV. So then this way, if there's got to be a way, and I looked this up a long time ago, there is a way that you can actually stop people from hacking into your smart TV. So this is good homework for you to do, is to Google that, on YouTube or whatever. How do you know that somebody's spying on you through your smart TV? Do you want people watching you in your bedroom? Are you married? Do you have a boyfriend? You don't even have to have a boyfriend or be married, because, we're all adults, right? You don't have to have a guy or a girl to have pleasure, right? So think of all the crazy stuff you might do in your bedroom when nobody's watching. Well, you think nobody's watching, right? So I was being spied on in my apartment, in my living room. Who knows what that blank... I was like thinking back, I'm like, oh my, the things that I did in my living room space. How many people like might have not only sex in their bedroom, but maybe anywhere in the space of their house or their apartment, right? Do you only have sex in your bedroom? Maybe. But not everybody does that, They want to mix things up, get out of their comfort zone, spice things up in their life by just kind of surprising each other in the living room. And then you got the smart TV sitting there eyeballing everything that you're doing in your living room space. So I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to tell you, you're going to want to Google this up. You're going to want to check your devices, and find out, is somebody spying on you on your smart TV? Is it very smart? They made these things why did they have it set up? So then, because I Googled this, and there's certain things that you can't see on the screen. You can't see it. You can't see it. It's not visual on your screen. So you gotta, it will let you know. I Googled this a long while back because I was going through this. It will guide you and help you where you could stop somebody from doing this to you, that could be doing it. And I'm not saying that they are. There's some people, they don't care what you look like. They're bored. They want to, because they know like all the Hollywood stuff is fake. They know it's not real. So, if you could, like porn's all like, it's all acted out. It's not like, they had to take so many shots, to make that video that you might watch, So it didn't happen. It looks all, wow, amazing, right? But no, it doesn't work that way with porn. It takes a lot of shots, and I just don't even want to put myself in that situation to even wonder about those things. So you really want to protect yourself and your family. How about teenagers, in their bedrooms? Do you really want some strangers in your son's bedroom space, or even your daughter's space? Maybe they got a flat screen TV or smart TV in their bedroom, and there could be some creeper out there, or many creepers, that are sitting there watching your kids and preying on them, and you got to be careful, because especially with the teenagers and kids, if they're being spied on too, and in their bedroom space, or even their computers being hacked into, they could easily, get information and know where they're going and all that stuff. And you got to protect your family and yourself. So anyway, I'm not sorry. You need to know the truth. Yes, people can hack into your flat screen TV, your smart TV, or whatever, or any, kind of thing like that, and they can watch you, and you wouldn't even know. Just because you didn't see just because you don't see what my daughter and I saw, what do you think was going on before we saw that? We just seen, movies and stuff like that. We didn't see anything, but God might have did something somehow or another. Somebody did something where we were able to see them, right? In the, like God sent me to my daughter's house. God could do anything. God might have pushed some kind of button so we could see that, wow, there's people in the TV, into the smart TV. So you really want to take that extra time and Google that and do the necessary steps, or even if, you got to be careful who you trust with your computers and devices and all that stuff. So anyway, I love you. It's not to scare you. It's to help you out so you can protect yourself and your family, So anyway, I love you. You could give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave a message down below, beep, beep, beep. And you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight. I'm so sorry, this is fun. Or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Dingman Starlight. And you're going to want to tell your families, you got to Google this, look it up, check it out. I'm not lying. This is not made up shit. Anything I put on my videos, it's not made up. It might sound crazy. It might sound bizarre. It might sound scary, but it's not made up. So I love you so much. This is Starlight, and namaste. This is Starlight, love, light, and peace.